So I was looking forward to the new Demon Slayer game. I was actually going to feature it on the channel, but it's already facing numerous issues, one of which is censorship, as you can see on your screen. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba developer discusses Sony's selective censorship practices. And I like that he specified selective because they are going to be censoring a lot of violence in this game. But then you could go right over to Mortal Kombat, the American property, and you can get all the dismemberment, all the arms and heads coming off, the blood, the gore, the internal organs and all that. It's just like the Sony stance on sensual content. Oh, we can't have attractive anime women. No, 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 no. But you could go to Last of Us 2 and see a transformer getting piped down from behind by a guy, and it's fully uncensored. I mean, you're not seeing the literal penetration, I guess, but you're still seeing the act. Like, I don't get it, and I don't like it. Ever since Sony came to California, it's just been really terrible. But let's read the article here, brought to us by Game Rant. And in a recent interview, CyberConnect2 CEO Hiroshi Matsuyama discusses Sony's extra censorship and its impact on the upcoming Demon Slayer game. And again, it's selective censorship. If you're anime or if you're anime games, I wish you would go to the Nintendo Switch. I wish you would stay on X. Hell, I wish you would stay on PC, because at this point, if it's touching Sony, it's going to be censored garbage at this point. So, censorship in video games is a hot button issue. The practice can take many forms and be done for a number of different reasons. Most often, the conversations about how Japanese games are censored for their release in the Western markets. But recently, there has been a uptick in chatter about censorship practices in Japan. Assassin's Creed Valhalla released in Japan with depictions of bloodshed removed. In a recent interview, CyberConnect2 President and CEO Hiroshi Matsuyama discusses possible censorship of the company's upcoming Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba game. And this reminds me, because this has been something that's been a long-standing issue, because if you remember, in Dragon Ball games, there's been heavy censorship with, stuff like Future Gohan having to have an arm, Tien having his arm not blown off by Nappa, different impaling shots removed, like the signature special beam cannon impaling Goku and Raditz. So this has been here for a while, but it's been ramped up ever since Sony came to California. And again, this selective censorship, because it never affects Grand Theft Auto. It never affects any of Sony's American property. Any American games, Mortal Kombat, whatever, Grand Theft Auto, you can have hookers, you can have arms getting ripped off, you can have all that different kind of stuff. And even now, they've like censored women. Women look whatever and have to be covered up like nuns in burqas and all this, and then the violence. Like they are, like, I would almost call this discrimination against anime games, specifically discrimination against anime games, because that's where the censorship is being focused on. But Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba is perhaps the biggest manga and anime franchise in the world right now. Yeah, it's basically killed the comic books industry. Last year's Demon Slayer Mugen Train movie broke the long-standing domestic box office record in Japan held by Hayao Miyazaki's film Spirited Away. The series has captivated audiences with its beautiful drawn action sequences, likable characters, and some sharp writing. Demon Slayer has had a fair amount of violence in it, which is why Matsuyama is talking censorship in the upcoming game. Let's see what to expect from the new Demon Slayer game. In the interview with Matsuyama, it is asked about the bloodshed found in Demon Slayer and what that means for censorship of the game. His response is surprisingly revealing about censorship practices with specific regards to Sony. Matsuyama explains that while CyberConnect2 is developing the game with Japan's CERO rating system in mind and attempting to fit its game into this suitable category, Sony presents additional rules when it comes to releases on its consoles. A particular concern for Sony is excessive blood and dismemberment. Oh, you're so concerned about that, Sony. Well, where's the censorship for Mortal Kombat? I'm sorry, where's the I do not, and I want to clarify something. I'm not an advocate for censorship. I don't want any censorship in my games. If you are rated as a T-rated game, you need to have everything you're supposed to have. You are rated appropriately. But I think this is more politically driven than anything else, and again, it's discrimination specifically against anime games. If you've paid attention, every bit of controversy, every bit of censorship, every bit of altering has been focused on anime games to the point where I think it's time for us to finally, as an audience, to press upon the developers and say, don't release anything for Sony. Sony wants to censor everything, leave them out. Go to PC, go to Steam. If Steam starts pulling rank on you, then go to Xbox. If Xbox does the same, make your own distribution. Like go back to the days of making us import stuff. Like if I have to import a game to get it uncensored, I will do it. But please quit bending the knee to these companies, because once one person does it, they expect everyone else to follow suit, and I think that's the problem here. So, yeah. Oh, look, they basically queued up the TN Nappa thing on screen. Matsuyama points to different games, two different responses his company has received from Sony. In Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, the character Minato Namikaze, who loses his arm in the series, is presented in game with arms intact because Sony would not allow them to be shown dismembered. Conversely, for the more recent Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, the character Nappa blasts off the arm of Tien Shinhan, a moment of violence Sony allowed to stay in the game. Matsuyama explains that Sony's reasoning has to do with the source material, Naruto as more of a kid-friendly manga. What? Maybe Naruto Part 1, but Naruto Shippuden? Like, wow, like Sony is really showing that they don't know anything about anime. That's like going back and saying that we censored Dragon Ball Z because Dragon Ball, the manga with Kid Goku, is kid friendly. Wow. Okay, wow. Versus Dragon Ball, geared more towards teens and adults, as well as the changing times. Ultimate Ninja Storm was released in 2016, Kakarot in 2020. The problem Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba fan faces is that its universal demographic appeal. But if the game were to be to its true source material and include the excessive bloodshed, it might risk getting the dreaded Z0 rating. The Z rating would limit the game sales to only those who are over 18. I don't get the problem with that. It's oh, you're like, I don't get why they're worrying about that, because it's like people worrying about Grand Theft Auto selling. Grand Theft Auto gets its appropriate rating. No one worries about it. And guess what? That does not stop the kids from somehow sneaking and buying this game, whether they use their parents as a proxy or use someone at the mall that's hanging around the GameStop as a proxy to go get their game. Again, all they have to do is make sure it's rated appropriately. Unless it's taking you out of certain stores, I don't know about that. Anyway, and it would limit the marketability of the game. If Sony wants to move units, it's likely that the company would step in and ask CyberConnect2 to tone down the content to receive more of a friendly rating. Other Japanese developers have mentioned that censorship is on their minds when designing a game, like Adler Riza 2 producer Junzo Hazoi. So it comes to the consideration to make a game with wider appeal and easier access. Tasked with delivering a game for the hottest manga anime franchise going, CyberConnect2 is in an unenviable position of trying to stay true to the series while also developing a game that wouldn't run afoul of a strict rating system. Recently released trailers for the Demon Slayer game look pretty clean, so it would seem that CyberConnect2 is already considering censorship as a part of the game's development. Me personally, this is what I don't get. Why don't these developers make a violence mode and a non-violence mode? Basically, this is what used to happen in old games like on the 64 or on the PlayStation 1 and 2. Like I remember wrestling games would have a non-blood mode where no matter how much you hit the guy wouldn't bleed and nothing would happen to him. And then if you wanted the extra bit of blood and violence in your game, you could turn it on and that's what you would get. Now, my only problem with that would be that as far as I remember, especially in the PlayStation games, even if you had blood turned on, the wrestler wouldn't bleed in online matches. So personally, I want my experience to be mature. If this is a teen rated game, I don't get why we're still having a discussion about censorship because it is going to be a teen rated game. Over there in Japan, that Z0 system, I don't know how it works, but again, I don't think ratings matter in this aspect because if you make it, people will come. I mean, we're already dealing with things like what if they were to cover the red light district in this Demon Slayer game, which I don't think they are. I think they're only covering season one content. Well, is that gonna get censored too into the ground? I thought that the Japanese developers and manga creators and anime studios were anti-censorship. Like that was the last thing that we heard. So why are they tolerating it in their games? Which is like the most major thing that they give to their audience. Like after you get the anime, everyone's waiting for the game. So why are you allowing them to censor your games? Why not just make it for Japan and make us import? Because I think it's the worry of the Western audience. I think it's the North American market that they're most concerned for because the games are going to do whatever they do in Japan. And I think they're keeping in mind for the overseas audience, but at this point, they need to have that same mentality when it comes to creating the anime that, look, we're not going to censor anything. We're going to present it the way that we present it. And I wish they would crack down on the dub studios who go back and try to do the whole 4 kids thing where they try to censor them down too. Like it's One Piece where they remove guns, they remove cigarettes, and they replace them with like ridiculous objects. But Demon Slayer game facing censorship. I don't know. Like, because I'm sitting here waiting for characters like Mitsuri Kanroji. I'm waiting for the Love Hashira, but like, if you're going this far on violence, God knows how far they're gonna go on female characters. Like, if they get to like the Red Light District arc, or if they feature it as a DLC a year down the line, like, how terrible is that gonna be butchered? You gotta think about that. There's a lot of problems here that has not been discussed by the community. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I will keep covering the new Demon Slayer game news as it becomes available as I find it to make you guys aware of what's going on with your game. At this point, I'm not. I will still buy the game, but it's definitely not a day one priority right now. I gotta see more of it. There's other issues that I have not discussed yet, but I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.